You're listening to the weekly Parsha Podcast with Ari Goldwag, recorded with Hashem's never-ending assistance in Ramat Beit Shemesh Israel 5779 2019. This week's Parsha is Parsha's Devarim. In Eretz Yisrael, in Chutz La'aretz, we are all reading the exact same words of the Torah this week. And it is the same Parsha that we read every year as we lead in to Tisha B'Av, the day of the destruction of the first Beis HaMikdash, the second Beis HaMikdash, the day that so many travails, so many trials, so many tribulations of the Jewish people began. The Inquisition began on this day in 1492. All kinds of, we could go through history and talk about the many things related to this negative day. It was also the day on which the spies returned and the Jewish people cried that they believed that they wouldn't be able to get into Eretz Yisrael, into the land of Israel. It's a day of sadness, it's a day of mourning. And I'd like to speak a bit about the Parsha, a bit about the idea of the Avelus, the concept of the fact that that whoever mourns over Jerusalem merits to see the rejoicing of Jerusalem. And also, how do we relate to the mourning today of Jerusalem when we have so much? We have so much. We have in Eretz Yisrael, we have Yerushalayim, it's ours. Of course we're missing so much too, but how do we relate to that? And to begin with, I'd like to read to you from our Parsha in Devarim at the very beginning. This is a long speech of Moshe Rabbeinu as the Jewish people are about to walk into the land of Israel, as they're about to live the dream. Moshe Rabbeinu gives them a tremendous pep talk, so to speak, talking about all of the mitzvahs of the Torah, all of the things that they need to be aware of and keep when they come into Eretz Yisrael, into the land of Israel. And Moshe Rabbeinu tells them something at the very onset of his speech. I'm going to start from chapter 1, verse 8. We are standing at the threshold of the land of Israel. Go and inherit the land that Hashem promised to your forefathers, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That he promised he would give to them and to their children. Moshe Rabbeinu says that I said to you at that time, Moshe says a very interesting thing. He says, I cannot carry you. I can't be the one to carry you alone. The Jewish people are a massive nation, over 1 million people, perhaps close to 1.5 million people. And Moshe Rabbeinu is one person, one leader. I can't do it myself. Hashem Elokeichem, hirba eschem, v'hinchem hayom kechachvei hashamayim l'roiv. You are multitudes. You've become many multitudes. You are like the stars in the heavens. Hashem Elokeichem v'seichem yosef aleichem kachem elef ha'amim. When Moshe Rabbeinu points out, I'm saying that I can't handle everybody by myself. I can't do this by myself, this job of leading you. I'm not complaining about how many you are. Hashem should continue to make you even greater and more and manier, if there is such a word as manier. Elef pa'amim, it should be 1,000 times. Yivarech eschem kasher diber lachem, he should bless you as he spoke to you. But then comes the line, which sounds like a sad line. It sounds like a sad line, and in fact, Rosh Hashiva points out, it sounds like a sad line. We read it sadly in shul, in the synagogue on Shabbos, the Shabbos, Eicha-How, esa levadi, torchachem asachem v'rivchem. How can I, Moshe Rabbeinu says, how can I carry by myself all of the tircha, all of the trouble, the pain, the masachem, your burdens, v'rivchem, all of your quabbles, all your fights. Havu lachem anoshim chachamim u'nevayim v'yidum l'shavteichem asimim b'rasheichem. Okay, so he told the Jewish people, that they should have leaders besides for Moshe Rabbeinu himself, so that more people can be involved in adjudicating and being involved in guiding the Jewish people. It's interesting here. As I read this, what's interesting is first a few things. First of all, we have the word Eicha, which is why we read it in that sad tune, because it reminds us of Eicha Yashva Badad. How has it come to be that the city of Jerusalem sits alone? Right? Just 200 years ago, they came to Jerusalem. the Jewish people, they weren't there. We didn't have anybody there. The students of the Gra came in the early 1800s, about 1808. 1812 they came to Jerusalem. So I'm just getting rid of the sound over here. It's disturbing me. And they came there, and they came in 1812, I believe, and there were 29 Jews altogether. That's it. And so very few people going on there, right? So that's how it was. We don't even realize and appreciate what we have today. But Yirmiyahu HaNavi, who had prophesied about and saw the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, saw the destruction of the temple, he said, how has it happened that this city which was bustling with people, this place, this land, this amazing city of the Jewish people, the center of the heart of the Jewish people, has become desolate and empty? Eicha, how has it happened? Rosh Hashiva points out that this word Eicha is like, it's a surprise. It's something surprising. How could it be? How could such a thing have happened? It seems like something which is, it couldn't have happened. It's something that shouldn't have happened. And interestingly, Moshe Rabbeinu uses that same lashon, Eicha esalavadi. How could it be that how would I be able to do it myself? And what sticks out for me as I read these psukim is that Moshe Rabbeinu is not saying something negative. Moshe is not saying a sad point. He's saying, you have become so many, you have become so great in multitude that I can't do it myself. How could I do it myself? I need to appoint others to be involved in leading the Jewish people. So it's interesting, we kind of hear the word Eicha and we hear something negative, but in the psukim, it's not so simple that it's a negative thing. Okay. That's the pasuk, and we're going to come back to this hopefully as we continue. But I'd like to read to you from Reb Chaim Friedlander. Interestingly, he doesn't have anything on Parshas Devarim, but he does have numerous pieces about the mourning over Jerusalem, the mourning that's been going on for the past 3 weeks. And I'd like to share with you some thoughts that he shares with us. He says like this: Chazal tiknu es yimei bein hamitzarim liyimei avelos al Yerushalayim. Our sages set up the 3-week period as a time of sadness, of mourning over Jerusalem. Yadu shekol zman vezman yesh lem alosei v'hashpa'asei miyuchadim. We know that each and every different time period along the time of the calendar has its own something special about it, something that we can experience a spiritual aspect of within time. This is a special time that we can all use as an opportunity to mourn over Jerusalem. And we're going to see, what does that mean? How do we connect to mourning over Jerusalem? How do we connect to sadness over something that we've never had? The rest of the year, so there are Yechidim, there are individuals who are able, each day they say Tikkun Chatzos, they cry over Jerusalem. But generally speaking, during the 9 days, during the 3 weeks, we feel it as a nation. For sure in Eretz Yisrael, everyone's walking around with their unclipped beards. There's a certain sadness. So you turn on the radio, it's interesting, they weren't even playing any a cappella. During the 9 days, it was all talk radio. And there's a certain, we really feel it. You really feel it nationally. You feel like the whole nation is mourning together. Says Reb Chaim that the Avelus is not just for what we had and what we're missing. The purpose of the mourning is so that we should get a depth in it. We should realize what we're missing so that we should have a desire for that which we're lacking. The point of the Avelus, and this is really important, the point of the Avelus, the point of the mourning, is for us to realize what we're missing so that we can want greater. We are missing that connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I was telling my kids, what are we missing with Beis HaMikdash? I was telling also a small crowd, I sang for a group of elderly people. I said, what are we missing? What are we crying about? Hashem, come back. We have Yerushalayim. It's built already. We have Eretz Yisrael. what we were missing, the main thing, Iker Chaser Min HaSefer. The main thing is what we're missing, which is the Shechina, the connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Ruach HaKodesh, the sense that Hashem is with us. In Kain Mechavesin Ladas Lahavim Amem Espata Avelus Yerushalayim. We need to understand how the Avelus, the mourning over the loss of Jerusalem, is expressed. We need to know, what are we supposed to be, what are our aspirations supposed to be to take away this that we're lacking, to fill that which we lack. So he brings a Gemara. It's a Gemara in Brachos, Daf Gimel. Let's read about what the sages say in regards to the great sadness, the pain, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that God has Himself over the fact that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed and that the Jewish people were sent into exile. It's always interesting to read what Reb Chaim has to say, Reb Chaim Friedlander, because he lived here in the land of Israel. He experienced the 6-day war, and he's writing from the perspective of somebody who lives in Eretz Yisrael, rebuilt Eretz Yisrael, but still where I'm missing that core. So the Gemara says like this: Amar Rav Yosi. Rav Yosi said, "Pama achas hayisi mahalech b'derech." One time I was walking. I walked in to one of the houses that had been destroyed in Jerusalem. It was obviously after the destruction of the second temple. And he went inside there and he was davening, he was praying. Elijah the prophet, who down till today, we have people who have had Gilui Eliyahu, people who have spoken to Elijah the prophet, because he never died. So Eliyahu stood there at the doorway. So he said to Rabbi Yosi is made, he testifies that Eliyahu Hanavi said to him, "What did you hear? What was the voice that you heard inside of this broken down house?" I heard a voice, a heavenly voice, that it was wailing. It was wailing like a pigeon, like a dove. He said, "Woe unto my children, that because of their sins I destroyed the temple, and I burnt down my Eicha-How, my sanctuary, and I sent them into exile amongst the nations." Elijah said to Rabbi Yosi, I promise you, I swear by your life, not only at this time does that heavenly voice come out, but 3 times a day, the heavenly voice repeats the same statement. Not only this, Ella says an amazing thing, a positive thing. This is a negative thing, but he says a positive thing. When the Jewish people go into their places of worship, when they enter into their synagogues, they say, Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach, that the great name of God should be blessed forever and ever. HaKadosh Baruch Hu menaneh roshei, God nods his head, as it were. And he says, Ashrei HaMelech shemakal sanei bebeisoi. Praised is the king who they praise him such in his house. Hashem, as it were, he says when he hears the Jewish people saying how great he is, or how great his name will be when the Messiah arrives. So Hashem says, why did I have to send them out into exile? Woe unto a father. Woe unto the children who were sent away from their father's table. Okay, so it's very interesting. So we have 2 statements. One is a negative statement, one is a positive statement. One is, woe unto us, woe unto the Jewish people, woe unto God, as it were. And one is, what an amazing praise. What amazing praise. Praiseworthy. Ashrei, how joyous is a king who is being praised in this way. Tzarech lahavin, says Reb Chaim, we need to understand. When the Jewish people go into their temple, into their synagogue, into their Beis Knesses, and they say that God's name should be blessed, right? So Yesh Simcha Gedol is an amazing, awesome joy. Right? God nods his head, like we said, and praiseworthy is the king who is praised this way. At the same time, God also is sad, like we said. So what is the idea? How does this joy and this pain come together? What is the idea of the fact that God is rejoicing in the praise, as it were, and at the same time God is sad over the loss that the Jewish people has? What is also special about this praise of Yehi Rabbah, that Hashem is especially joyous in this praise, more than other types of blessings and praises. So he brings down, and I don't have enough time to read every single thing here. There's a lot, really. There's so much here. I could go on for an hour. But I try to keep these down to between 20 and 25 minutes. Sometimes they drop longer. He says that Yehi Shmei Rabbah is a unique thing. And the truth is, we really have to read this inside. He brings from the Maharal. The Maharal says like this. Maharal mevar ki hashevach hazeh shu amin Yehi Shmei Rabbah moira al malas Yisrael. This special praise that God's name should be made great, it shows the special advantage, the special unique advantage of the people of Israel, of the Jewish people. Because it says something which is not mentioned in any other praise of God. That God is blessed forever and ever. That's the key. That God is praised in all of the worlds. What does it mean, all of the worlds? It means not just the world that we exist in now. Not just this world which we experience, which is a physical world where spirituality is hard to discern. But even we're saying a praise now that has to do with the future time, with Olam Haba, the world to come. And understand something, the world to come is not some far-off place. It's not some other worldly place. It is this world. But it's this world in a state of tikkun. It's this world in a state of rectification, where everything is as it's supposed to be. It's in a way that it was originally made when Adam Harishon, when the first man was created. And that is where spirituality is obvious. And physicality is that which is less easy to discern. So we're saying a praise now, which is really a praise of God for the future world, not just for our world, not just for our experience, not just for our dimension, let's say, but for the ultimate dimension, which is the times of Mashiach, the Messiah, the times of Olam Haba, which is after that time, which is in the year 6000. So we're saying something which has awesome power. We're saying something now which has awesome power for the future. And the truth is, he brings down that the true Gilei Kvodo, when is Hashem's kavod, when is His honor going to be revealed? Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach. When will that happen? Only really in the future. Only really when the Messiah arrives, in the Messianic age, the times of Mashiach, but really in Olam Haba, in the world to come, which follows that time period. Now, what is the idea? What is the idea here? And this is where he brings it down. He says like this, very clearly, and there are 2 points here, and the second point to me is extremely important and nogea to us, something that we can really take home. First point, though, and this is an introduction to the second point. The fact that a person has an aspiration, has a desire to see Hashem's honor to be revealed, let it be revealed. It's not yet revealed, but it's the beginning of the revelation. A person who wants to see Hashem's hand in his life. My Hashem, I want to see you in my life. My Hashem, I want to see that when I trust you, it works. And that you reach down into my life and you pick me up. And you raise me up. So he's saying something not just on a personal level, but something on an international level. When we look around us and we see that Hashem's honor is not seen, we don't see Hashem openly in the world. Of course, there's so many Maaseh Hashgacha Prat, there's so many things that are going on in the world that are clearly God's divine providence. But it's not something that's openly seen. When we have that feeling like we wish, we are yearning for the time when we can see Hashem in the world. If feeling that that's lacking is already the beginning of drawing down that revelation of Hashem, of His honor in the world. What is this comparable to? A person who is extremely sick. He doesn't realize how sick he is. He has no idea what's going on with him. He's walking along blissfully, but he's in serious condition. It's not a good thing. It's not an exciting thing for him to find out the truth, but the moment that he finds out, he can start to take treatments, to try to get better, to heal himself. So the beginning of knowing about the problem is the beginning of the cure. So it is when it comes to a desire to see the honor of heaven. You look around and you see how much the mindset of the Western mind, which is the opposite of the Torah, the das balabatim to the nth degree, whatever they're saying in the world of the West, it's the opposite of what Kadosh Baruch Hu wants, and that's such a terrible thing. And they're destroying the family, and they're destroying truth and justice and all of the values that we hold dear. What a lack of kavod shamayim! What a lack of heavenly Hashem's honor is being disgraced. When a person senses that and feels that, it's the beginning of a recognition that things can be better. When a person doesn't recognize, doesn't think about, doesn't contemplate how Hashem's honor is not present in the world, that very misunderstanding or lack of understanding is itself a lack of honor of Hashem. He doesn't even understand what is the honor of heaven. So such a person doesn't have a true desire to see the revelation of Kvod Shemayim, right? So Beis HaMikdash, what are we looking for? What are we sad about? We're sad about we are missing Hashem being openly in our lives. Hashem's honor, truth, honesty, goodness, family values, all of these things that we learn from the Torah, chesed, kindness, all of these things are being trampled upon in the world. And that means that Kadosh Baruch Hu godliness is missing in the world. We don't see Him in our lives personally, we don't see Him in our lives nationally. We're so involved in my own power is going to do it. If I put in enough ishtadlis, if I try hard enough, I'm going to get what I want. That's pushing Hashem out. All these things are pushing Hashem out of our lives personally and nationally. And here's where we get to a point, which for me is the point that's nagea lalibi. All these points are important and they touch me as well, but this is the one that strikes the greatest chord in my heart. Rabbi Yisrael Salanta, the leader of the Musar movement, writes as follows: a person who learns Musar is willing to do some introspection, recognize his chisronos, recognize what's missing in his life, the things that he's doing wrong, the things that could be better. He calls out, live. Begidroi, included in this idea, kol chai margish, anyone who's alive, senses, lasum lalev, has to pay attention, notice, leidach chisronos, to know the things that are lacking in his life, l'shtekek l'tikunim, to try to rectify those things that are lacking, those places that in my relationships with my wife, with my children, with those around me, those places where I'm not complete. I realize that I'm missing something in my relationships. A person wants to fix those things. A person, what is the definition of somebody who's alive? Somebody who recognizes and feels and senses that which he's missing, that which is not good, that which he wishes could be better. But if he doesn't feel it, if he doesn't learn Musar, he doesn't learn about the things that need to be fixed and rectified, he can't use his conscience to correct his situation. He doesn't recognize that anything's there. It's just passing by. He doesn't notice. The truth is that he's extremely sick. He's mortally in danger. When a person learns Musar, he recognizes that which he's missing. He recognizes his chisrainus, the things that are lacking in him. That's the beginning of the rectification. That's the beginning of fixing. When I realize what I'm missing, when I realize, look, I have this bad midah, I get angry in this situation. I get too pulled into checking my Facebook and checking the news and checking. I get distracted. I'm not with my family. I'm not present. All of these things that are part and parcel of modern life, we could say. If I don't stop and notice, if I don't stop and introspect, look at what's going on, I can never change it. I can't change anything if I don't think about it. I can't hope for something better if I don't realize that there's something missing. So that's what he says is the point of the mourning, is to recognize that something's missing. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevarach means there's something much greater that can be. Hashem's revelation is going to be in the world, but we can actually draw that into the present. When we say Eicha, the word Eicha means what's going on with us. Eicha is not just like, how did it happen? It's a shock. How did this happen? Where are we? What is going on? What has happened to us? It's a stark recognition of how far we are away from where we want to be. That's what Eicha is. How far we are away from a Beis HaMikdash. How far we are away from a real relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How far we are away from a relationship with those around us. How far we are away from being who we really wish we could be. How far we are away from Tikkun Amidus, from being greater people, from being honest, from being committed, from being all of the things that we wish we could be. That's Eicha. Eicha is, how did we get here? How did we get here? When we start asking, how did we get here? We can start having a she'ifa, an aspiration for something greater, to be something greater, to have something greater, to have a real relationship with Hashem, to have a Beis HaMikdash, to be able to a person lives in Chutz La'aretz, a person lives outside of the land of Israel, and did we ever think, like, what am I doing here? Why don't I live in Eretz Yisrael? You can live in Eretz Yisrael and not even notice that there's a Yerushalayim, that there's a Kaisel to visit. How could I live in Eretz Yisrael, in Beit Shemesh, and not visit the Kaisel, not visit Yerushalayim, not visit the place, the place? Eicha. How did it happen? And Moshe Rabbeinu says to the Jewish people, Eicha, how could I do it? How could I do it? And I think that in the context of Moshe Rabbeinu, it's not a negative statement. It was a statement of, it's too much for me. I didn't think about it until now. Eicha is, wow, it's a shock. I can't believe how we got to this place where I'm trying to do everything myself. I need to involve other people. I need to delegate the power and the instruction to others as well. Moshe Rabbeinu was saying a shock statement, but a statement of Eicha. How could it be? Eicha is the shock statement that starts the next stage. The next stage is where we move out of the place of darkness, out of the place of our bad midas, out of our bad character traits, out of this darkness of Golus, out of the darkness of exile, out of Chutz La'aretz back to Eretz Yisrael, out of the darkness of Eretz Yisrael into the Beis HaMikdash, into the temple. That's what we're looking for. That's what Eicha is. How did it happen? Where are we? Where are we? Hashem says to Adam HaRishon after this, he says, Ayeka, where are you? What do you mean, where are you? I'm right here. No, do you realize where you've got? Where are you? How did you fall so far? How did you get there? Where are you? Because the question of where am I and where are you, where are we, is the beginning of getting to a new place. And I've gone past the time I usually like to go, but this is such a deep and important thing. It's such a deep and important thing. This is what it's about. If we realize what we're missing, if we realize what we don't have Yerushalayim, we don't have that relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the beginning of the tikkun. That's the beginning. You see it right away. You say, where are we? Because it's so easy to breeze through life and never ask the question. So I want to bless you, and I ask you to please bless me, that Hashem should help us, that we should stop saying Eicha. We should start saying it so that we can stop saying it. Hashem should bless us, that we should be able to recognize how far we are. And Hashem should reveal that we are so close, and that this should be the last Tisha B'Av. And we should be Zeicha to a binyan, Beis HaMikdash, B'mehera b'yameinu, speedily in our days. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos.
This podcast was made possible through the gracious donations of listeners like you. For more podcasts like this, please visit www.arigoldwag.com or search on iTunes Ari Goldwag.